In this video, we're going to explore what exactly are mock objects, and more importantly, how can I start using mock objects in our assignment. So what I've done here is in this question, um, uh, you have two individuals over here. So this is you, and this is your friend or your colleague, and and your friend over here is responsible for implementing the file system. Okay, and you as an individual, you're responsible for implementing the cat command. And the kind of the constraint, the kind of the deal here is that the cat command collaborates with the file system. Okay, so what does it mean for the cat command to collaborate with the file system? All it means is that when you put your class together, when you put your class cat together, at some point within the definition of this class cat, you're going to refer to the file system, and this this kind of this referral, well, not referral, but this kind of this referring of the file system inside the class cat is the collaboration that the cat class is doing with the file system. Okay, so before we get into the specifics of the question, one other thing that's going to be on this question here is that some kind of an interface is given to you. Okay, so you have an interface over here with the name file system. Now, what is an interface? What exactly is an interface? An interface, by definition, is nothing but a contract. It's nothing but a contract that tells you what are the behaviors, what are the set of methods that must be implemented in the class that were to implement the interface. So again, let me kind of rephrase that. So in this file system, which happens to be an interface, what it really contains inside it are a set of abstract methods. What it contains here are a set of abstract methods. Now, what exactly is an abstract method? An abstract method, by definition, is a method that has no implementation. And one example of an abstract method is right here. You have this method in blue that simply has a definition. It simply has a definition where here is the name of the function that happens to have a name get file contents. It takes in as an input a parameter, a single parameter, which is path, and you get back as an output some other string. And this method at some point also might throw an exception. And the exception that gets thrown from this method is an invalid path exception. But keep in mind, at no point, I'm exactly telling you the implementation. The implementation is going to come in the class that were to implement the file system. So how is the interface really helping me here? Okay, the way the interface is really helping you is that when a friend over here, let's give him a nice kind of a smiley face there. So this friend over here, when it's trying to put this entire file system together, and the name of this file system the friend's putting together is the J file system. Okay, so it's the J file system that a friend is putting together. Okay, now you know that your friend is going to create a class, called JFileSystem, and in this class that your friends put together, he's going to put a bunch of methods in there. Okay, something in there. But what you really know is that because this JFileSystem is going to implement this contract, is going to implement a contract of a file system, one of the methods that's going to be in here is going to be get file contents, because that's the contract. For a JFile system to really behave as a file system, your friend is going to do class JFS implements implements fs. And what it really tells me is that, look, inside this class, one of the methods is going to be get file contents because it needs to obey this contract here. And what you're going to do is, because this is OU, and of course you're happy too, right? Well, I need to have two eyes here. Okay, so you're happy too. And what you're going to do is, because your class collaborates with this file system, you know that your class is only dependent on this method. How do I know that? Because in the question I'm telling you exactly that this is where you are. This is where you are. You have implemented the cat command, and the cat command class is right here. And what it really does is collaborating with the file system, which is right there. Okay, now keep in mind that this file system over here, the actual word file system is an interface. is an interface, which is basically a contract. Is the contract that your class depends on. And one of the things that a contract tells you is that it contains a method. It contains a method called getFileContents, which is exactly what your class cat is consuming. That is getting called. Is getting called inside this class cat here. Okay, so given this code here, what I'm asking you now is to basically perform some testing. Okay, so again, let's draw these people here. This is where you are. This is where your friend is. Okay, we're going to kind of divide the two over here. Okay, and the contract that you know, which is in green here. Okay, the contract over here in green is your file system, which contains inside it the method getFileContents, which contains inside it getFileContents. Okay, and this is something that both you and your colleague have agreed on, that this is what the contract of the file system should look like. But it's your friend who's going to go and provide the implementation. So your friend over here in red is busy working on the sprint call class JFS that implements FS, and he's putting together all the fancy code of what the file system should be. And as he's putting together, at some point he's going to implement the get file content. This is get FC for short. He's putting the code over here. The actual real code. This is where the real code is. This is where the real code is, and this is what your friend is doing. But because this is where you are in blue, and because your class depends on that file system, but because this class in red is still getting created, it still isn't done. What you're going to do is you're going to create a fake one. You're going to create a fake class. You're going to create a fake class, okay, which is nothing but, let's call this mock JFS. Like JFS is this class. You're just going to create a mock version of it. Okay, but your class in blue, mock JFS, also implements the file system contract. And because it implements a file system contract, it must also have some implementation of the method getFC, get file contents. But keep in mind that what you're going to do, because you are responsible for testing the class cat, and your class cat depends and collaborates with the file system, you're going to provide a fake implementation. You're going to provide a fake implementation to this method so that you can use that fake implementation to test your class cat. Okay, you don't care about how this method does its job, get file contents. All you care about is whether your method execute works correctly. And because execute depends on this method, we're going to just fake that, and we're going to assume that it works correctly. We're going to kind of make an assumption here. Look, let's assume that this method works correctly. If it works correctly, is my method then execute actually working correctly? So what we're going to do now in the next video is somehow use everything that we've kind of learned over here. It's kind of let's just doodling around and putting these basic schematics. But after having got this really, really high level idea, we're going to now step in and put some code together and see this entire question in action.